Shalom Israel. This is part 2 of the Bible is the only thing that can rise up our community. Now in my first part of this video, I explained that. Okay, now the Bible always has a solution for every problem that's in our community. Baby mamas, baby daddies, STDs, murder, theft, rape, all of that. And I went over that in the first part of the video. In this part of the video, I'm going to go over the other two things that's in our community a lot. Disease, illness, and self-hate. The Bible has solutions for that. Did you know that the Bible tells us why our people are leading in all the diseases? It tells us why our people are the highest ranking every single disease that exists, and it tells us how to get out of the diseases, how to prevent the illnesses. Okay, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So this is Moses speaking to the Israelites with the power of God, saying to them, if you or your descendants don't keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, then curses will come upon you. Now let's see some of the curses. Let's see what some of the curses are. This is verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of the law, them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. The Bible says if we break his commandments, his laws and commandments, every sickness and every plague that's not written in the Bible will come upon us. Okay, like high blood sugar, diabetes, cancer, obesity, emphysema, artery disease, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, all that stuff. It'll come upon us. And guess what happened? It did, because we did break his commandments. And if you go to statistics, you'll find out that blacks are the leading in all of those, okay? We're the leading in all of those. Now, when you go through health, when you do some study on health, whenever something is wrong with your health, it's most likely because of something that you're consuming, something that you're putting in your body, okay? So, what are we putting in our body that God said we shouldn't put in our body with the commandments, okay? Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. The Bible said, whatever does not chew the cud, or whatever does not split the hoof, we can't eat it. And it said the camel is the first one, okay? And the coney, which is a rabbit, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, which is also a rabbit, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Now this is the one that blacks love to eat. This is the one that's causing all the sicknesses and the illness in our people. And the swine, which is a pig, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. The pig is unclean. Now if you read furthermore into this chapter, which I'm not, it'll tell you that the crawfish and the shellfish, all that shellfish and the shrimp and the crabs and all that, that's also unclean. That's what blacks love to eat though. Now those are causing all the diseases and all the sickness in our community. And I bet you didn't know, a lot of y'all did not know that commandments also tell you what and what not to eat. But that's just how it is. Because God knows us. He knows what our body needs. He knows what our body does not need. Okay? So, now let's see what the Bible says about unclean things. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 17. 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them, come out from society, okay? And be ye separate, be different from everybody else, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing. The Bible says, touch not the unclean thing. Touch not the pig and the shellfish, okay? And I will receive you. Then God will receive you. Then God will hear your prayers. Then God will heal you from your sickness. God will heal you from all the illness that you're in. If you touch not the unclean thing. Okay? If you touch not the unclean thing. So, the reason why our community is filled with diseases and sickness is because we are breaking the laws of food, the dietary laws. We're eating the wrong types of things. Every sickness and every plague that's not written in the book of the law came upon us. And we still eat pork, and we still eat crawfish, we still eat shrimp, we still eat lobster. And guess what? We're just going to still be sick. We're just going to still be ill because we do not want to hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Now, I just dealt with disease. Now I'm going to go to the self-hate. The self-hatred that's in our community. So, if we hate, since we hate each other so much, that's the root to all the evils. A lot of the evils that's going on in our community. Such as stealing from each other. Such as murdering each other. Such as raping each other. All that stuff. Also, what the women do. What the sisters do. They like to bleach their skin to make it look white. And they like to perm their hair to make it look straight. Not knowing that brown skin is beautiful. Not knowing that woolly hair is beautiful. They don't know that they define beauty itself. The definition of beauty should be the black woman. But they don't know that. They don't know that. They think that the definition of beauty is the white woman. Okay? Now, this is Proverbs chapter 3 verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Who are our oppressor? The so-called white man. He is the one who put us in slavery, therefore he is our oppressor. And when we do what he does, and when we try to look like him, and when we be jealous of him, we are envying our oppressor. But the Bible just said don't do that. So we should not do that. We should not want to bleach our skin, and we should not want to perm our hair and make it blonde. And when blonde hair is actually leprosy. If you read Leviticus 13, which I'm not going to go to. Leviticus 13 tells you that blonde hair is a disease in itself. Who would want to put diseased hair on their head? Somebody who don't know the scriptures. That's why we need to learn the Bible, okay? We need to be healed. Now, we would not hate each other if we knew that we are beauty. But that's just how it is. Now, I'm going to go to the one of the greatest commandments in the Bible. See what that has to say about the self-hatred that there is. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear a grudge against any of the children of thy people. Now here's the best part. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So the Bible says love thy neighbor as yourself. But you cannot love thy neighbor if you do not love yourself. That's why I said love thy neighbor as thyself. So what comes first? Loving yourself comes first, then love your neighbor. Because you cannot love your neighbor if you don't love yourself. Because what we like to do, we like to love our enemy, love the oppressor more than we love ourselves. And we cannot do that. First we have to love ourselves, then love our neighbor. Okay? Because our neighbor is the Israelites. That's what neighbor means in this scenario. Other Israelites. We have to love other Israelites as we love ourselves. Okay? So, if we send up the bleaching our skin to make it look white, and perming our hair to make it look straight, we don't love ourselves. We don't love the way that God made us. Therefore, we are incapable of loving each other. Okay? And that's what stirs up the shootings. And that's what stirs up the baby mamas. And that's what stirs up the rape. That's what stirs up the robbery. Okay? Just self-hate. Something as simple as that. And you know what the cause of a lot of the self-hate is? White Jesus. Jesus is not white. God is not white. Now, if the Christian church was teaching us what Jesus and God really looks like, then we would not be hating ourselves as much. We would love ourselves more. Okay? The Bible says that the Father and His Son are two black men. Okay? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 14. I'm start with verse 1. Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Verse 14. Revelation means to reveal. So that's the revealing of Jesus Christ. Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool. Jesus Christ had white, woolly hair. Yahushua, the son of Yah, the son of God, had woolly hair. Woolly meaning the texture of a sheep's hair. Or some definitions might even say the texture of the hair of Negroes. Soft hair, or tight curls, or afro hair. Now, if you go to images, when you look it up on Google, you'll see nothing but Negroes with afros. That's what woolly hair means, okay? And his eyes were like a flame of fire. He had red eyes because he drank wine, okay? And his feet like unto fine brass. Brass is the color of a penny, okay? As if they burned in a furnace. And his voice like the sound of many waters. He had a deep voice. Now you have brass, the color of a penny. Take a penny, throw it into a furnace full of fire. It says his feet were the color of brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Now, what color is brass as if it burned in a furnace? Black. So your feet ain't no different than the rest of your body. So what color is Christ? What color is Yahushua? He is a black man. He was not ashamed of his dark skin. He was not ashamed of his woolly hair. Okay, so why should we? Okay? So now let's look to see what God looks like. First, I'm going to show you what God's hair looks like. Then I'm going to show you what God's skin looks like. Okay? This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days, which is God, because God has no beginning of days or end of days, took his seat, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. God had hair like pure wool, hair like Negroes. So God must be a black man from that. Now let's see what his skin looked like. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 2. And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and the one who sat on the throne was like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow around the throne, in the sight unto like an emerald. So God was the color of a sardine and a jasper stone. Now, if you look up sardine and jasper stones, you will see that they are both reddish brown, the color of rust, a ruddy color. Okay, so God and Christ were both black men. Now we need to start loving each other. We need to start loving ourselves. Self-hatred has got to end. Now, if the Christian church was teaching us that God and his son were two black men, we wouldn't hate each other as much, and that's common sense. Okay? But they don't want to do that because they set up by the government. Churches are set up by the government. We need to realize that. They don't want us to ever stop shooting each other. They don't want that to happen because they want us to be more mad at ourselves than the cops. Because every time we see the cops shooting us down, they always want to say, well, you kill each other more. That's true. Okay? And we need to stop eating all the pork because that's what's causing all the diseases such as high blood pressure and diabetes and cancer and obesity, emphysema, artery disease, and high blood sugar. Shalom.